can help you get through things. You know what I mean? Because sometimes
Yeah,
it's hard trying to just do it by yourself. I know a few people like I just know personally that's like, man, I wish they could kick some devices they own, but
yeah,
you can only do that by yourself. I'm
yeah,
lucky enough to be one of those people who can low key kind of stop things. Like, but I think I just try not to let things get too addictive to me. Like I literally stopped drinking alcohol. I stopped gambling. Like, and this is
yeah,
mainly just seeing the people around me. I'm like, I don't want to get into the point where I'm like, can't
yeah,
figure out I can't spend my money the way I want to spend it because I done gambled it all away, and I'm asking other people like I can't do that, man. And then
yeah.
it just don't make
Yeah,
sense.
and for me, like I mean, and like you pointed out, it's not like, there have been plenty of good people who were like, maybe you should stop,
Yeah,
doing this all the time. But until you see it as an issue, it's not an issue. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like, well, whatever, I'm getting by just fine, and you just rationalize it and shit like that. So yeah, man, it's been cool, but I'm definitely looking forward to going into the new year, just kind of expanding my platform and just getting more involved with cool shit like how we doing today. You know what I'm
okay,
saying? Like I'll continue to not just do political commentary but be involved in politics, like helping to get, people I think are good, like good people elected, working with campaigns and stuff like that. But there's just a lot more to life.
yeah,
And
yeah,
one of the things that I really like about, I mean, good writing, I would say in general, whether it's movie, TV shows, comic books, anime, is how much you really can do with good storytelling. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that in a lot of ways, that's all we really are as human beings. And, that's actually one of the things that initially got me into Naruto, because I always personally like Naruto more than Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z from a story perspective.
I can
You know,
understand that. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I definitely I mean, Dragon Ball's older. But I got into that first, but I feel like Naruto just deals with kind of like heavier themes more consistently. You know what I'm saying? Like
true, true.
like Frieza, like the Frieza saga in the sands, like that was kind of like that was really heavy. Like Frieza was just an evil bastard. And then everything after that, well, not everything, but most of the stuff after that was kind of just like a new enemy that's stronger that everybody has to beat. But
Yeah, I think Naruto is just kind of more closer to home, where it's like they're more human, and then
yeah,
Dragon Ball characters they become like gods and entities and things, and you're like, I can't even compare to these people no more.
yeah, yeah, like they blowing up planets and shit like that. And
You know what I
they,
mean? But you
they,
can
they,
understand Naruto's struggles of like being lonely and stuff like that, because
yeah,
majority of people are lonely. Like that's
yeah, especially in modern times. Like interestingly enough, I mean, shit, both Naruto and Sasuke, the two, the main
yeah,
the
true.
main people, they both suffered from loneliness, and they went about it in different ways. And that's a big reflection of society today, like how connected we are, but how disconnected that's made us.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's so true, man.
yeah, I mean, even like we're kind of outside. Like, how old were you when you first got your first cell phone?
Mm, I have to say probably like middle school, probably.
Yeah, yeah, I
That's
was I was 14, I think, if I remember right.
yeah.
But but it took a while. I mean, it took a minute for the app world to develop to what it is now. To like we still, like the younger you
You
go, the
think
more like
so? I feel like the cell phone evolution was pretty quick. Like from like 2000s to like 2010, you already had like your iPhones and your iPhone Touch. It's like we literally went through that whole generation of just the cell phones coming in and coming out, and it was fucking crazy to me to the point that they're making phones smaller and smaller. And it's just like
yeah,
wow.
well, yeah, I mean, really, in like the 15 to 20 year span, it's gone from just like flip phones to a whole nother world in a handheld for real. So that, that did happen really quickly. And then for like the consecutive generations, like the younger you are, like 8 or 5 years old,
Mhm.
and that just can has zapped a lot of our social interaction, and a lot. I mean, even in my life, I felt like a lot of what has helped me when I'm low is this simple stuff like hanging out with good people. You know what I'm saying?
True,
Like
true.
it tapping into the good connections. But and again, that I think that's really reminiscent in Naruto because as he had that evil spirit in him, the Jinchuriki. He had that spirit inside of him, and so the village just kind of cast him aside, didn't let none of their kids play with him. He was like he was the only black kid in the neighborhood type of shit.
No,
Like,
I mean, I feel him though. I mean, you know what's inside him. If the
yeah,
wrong thing happened, your son accidentally push him on the ground, he cry. A monster come out this motherfucker. So I understand
right.
their fear of being like, "Hey, come inside." Like, you know what I
Right,
mean?
exactly. Like, oh no, right. And they had the nine-tailed beast, the strongest one out of all of them, inside of them and shit like that.
And
And he
the
went up,
Hokage can't beat him. He older than dirt. Like it's like, oh.
right. Exactly. Nah, but what's the name? Hiruzen, he did Naruto dirty. He promised his dad, I was like, I'm gonna take good care of your son. And then as soon as Minato died, he was like, man, fuck this nigga. Like, fuck him.
I'll say I feel bad for the third Hokage because it's just a lot of stuff happened under his reign. And some of it I'll say was out of his control, and then some of it is like, dang, because I mean you got the Chia massacre that happened during his reign. It's like,
Yeah,
damn,
yeah, yeah.
he could have been on top of that. I mean, Naruto and that bull crap, he never really stepped in. I mean, they do show moments of him talking to Naruto and taking him out and stuff, but it was never a time when he like, you know what, maybe y'all shouldn't be talking to him like, that's the fourth Hokage son. A lot of people I feel like didn't even know that. That's
Yeah,
the crazy
yeah.
thing. It's like
Shit,
y'all
he
love
was
that guy, but y'all treat his son like shit. That's the one thing I was surprised the fourth Hokage didn't take like 15 minutes out and be like, let me talk to these niggas real quick before
yeah,
I go
yeah.
ahead and save the world. Y'all
I
know
guess
this
he didn't think about that
motherfucker.
shit. Right. I guess he ain't think about that shit. His wife had to sacrifice herself, all that shit just for Naruto to end up being treated like a third-rate citizen. Nah,
Man.
but the Hokage, nah, but the Uchiha massacre though, like I just that I always felt that was Donzo's ass. That shit was just incredibly unnecessary. Like we gonna kill all these motherfuckers, and then Donzo ended up stealing their eyes to put into his arm. It looked like it was just about him the whole time because
You know what I always say about Donzo? He has that like make America great again type of like mindset where it's like,
yeah,
only the things in our leaf, that's the only shit I'm gonna empower myself with. Cause I'm like, what it's all this other shit clans you could have went over there and like terrorize. You want to terrorize one of y'all stronger clans that's within your own leaf that's supposed to protect y'all. Like I never understood the mindset of that. I
that's
always hated Itachi for a second because I always like to me it's like, could I just kill off my own clan just because they don't like fuck with us? Like, nah, I just could not
just for the
do that.
sake of nationalism.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, no, but that's a perfect analogy. Just like hardcore extreme isolationism, nationalism. We gonna kill off some of the strongest ninjas in the whole damn world just because we don't want to give them a higher position in society. Because the second Hokage locked them into being the police force of the village because he didn't
mhm,
fuck with them.
basically put them
Yeah,
on the whole outskirts.
yeah, and he didn't fuck with him. But now, was that plan for the uprising real though? That
I,
Fugaku.
yeah, but you gotta think any group of people, if you being like suppressed and like treated like shit for so long, you're gonna want to fight for your freedom in some type of way. But see, the thing I always thought was interesting was they never fought to like be their own entity. They
Yeah,
literally just wanted to like be able to be the president, be in charge, treat us like y'all treat them niggas over there. Like that's
yeah,
the thing
pretty
I always
much.
thought was interesting about the whole thing. But
They wanted to have them in Obama presidency. Like we right, like we get one of the Uchihas in there, and then racism is over.
I mean, that's what they low key was also one of the Orochimaru. Like when it was the fourth Hokage, before he even got like appointed, they were trying to appoint Orochimaru. So it's like it's
Oh
interesting
yeah,
to me
yeah,
that they were like they wanted him to be the Hokage. Like, I wonder if Orochimaru was more inclusive person, because sometimes I'd be thinking like, I wonder if the people we don't think are the most like could be nice or kind could be
Mhm.
nice or kind type shit. Like, that would be
Yeah, maybe that was it. He was trying to just be a little bit more inclusive with him because after because after he got turned down for the Hokage position, that's when he started experimenting on kids and shit. That's where he was like, nah, fuck it. I don't want nah, cause was that his when he got obsessed with immortality?
I think he was always like that. I think it just kind of just became more of a thing because he had like more free time type of shit. But I
Yeah,
think it also shows that the third Hokage can read people, because he looked at Orochi and was like, "No, he is not gonna be fucking Hokage. I can
yeah.
tell by his spirit he is not that." But he couldn't tell some shit was off about Donzo or some of this other stuff. Like, that's the stuff that be making me like, "Come on, man."
Yeah, because Danzo wanted to be Hokage too, so they just read. And see, this is why Naruto is so good to me because there's all of this going on. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like throughout the whole series. I mean, from Naruto and then Naruto Shippuden, like it never really got stale. You know what I'm saying? Like it
And then you
never
got
got
Boruto.
yeah, like it never got stale. And I'm not as familiar with Baruto, but
Oh, it's kicking right now.
it's kicking.
Ugh.
Okay. Sometimes I like coming to stuff a little bit late so that I can really binge it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you can get it some time. They ain't even working on the new season yet, and that's where all is jumping, because that's when it's starting to become its own story. At first,
Yeah.
it was still part of the Naruto, but you had to kind of wait till Boruto got of age and taking the story his realm now, because now you got Naruto, Sasuke both kind of out of the picture now. So now you got our new kind of main characters, and the story
Yeah.
kind of hitting. Because now they
Yeah.
even got my boy Shikamaru in the more leading role right now, so
Oh
that's
yeah,
pretty cool.
good. Good. Yeah. And because that's I think well that was some of the bigger criticisms about at least the show. I don't know about the manga. Was that it just seemed to like the old like Sasuke and Naruto were still carrying everything. Um
Well, I mean, they did become
but
like
they were
super
kids.
powerful. Oh,
Yeah,
as we talking about as kids.
no, I'm talking about, but well, one, like you were saying, they was the two most powerful motherfuckers on the planet, but
Yeah,
also, Baruto and everybody else were, they were children, so there's only so much that they can do.
true,
Because the
true.
first episode of Baruto, they all grown up, and he going against Kawaki, so I guess it's caught up to that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
basically kind of where that is in the manga now. But that was like the biggest time skip ever. You're like, well, what's going on? Then you go to them
yeah.
as kids. It's like, oh, okay.
So then they knew how they knew what the main story was gonna be, but it just took them a long time to get to it,
Yeah,
basically.
you basically had to do Naruto over again. You know how you get Naruto, he as a kid, the tuning exams too. He get older, he learns Sage Mode to the fourth. You know, you got to go through all
Yeah,
that, because I mean, Boruto ain't gonna be Naruto on day one, and we don't want
yeah,
that low key. So it's like,
yeah.
let's see him get
Naruto
there,
had to go through all types of shit to even be where he was.
man. And I love his story low key. It wasn't a just I'm super powerful from day one, even though low key he kind of was super
Yeah,
powerful
yeah.
from day one, but
But he
he
had
had
to
to
turn
get
it
his
into skill. He had to
yeah.
really turn it into he had to turn all that talent into skill because Sasuke was well, Sasuke's more skilled. Naruto's more powerful than Sasuke, and Sasuke just seems to be more skilled.
Yeah, it's that
And
hard work talent type thing. You know what I mean?
yeah,
One is more
yeah,
talented.
yeah. But so what's the ultimate deal? Is Baruto is he an antagonist in his bigger storyline? Does he become like or I saw some about him becoming like some type of a fugitive or some shit like that? Or
Yeah, yeah, he do low key become like a fugitive, but this is just because it's like everybody kind of get brainwashed and shit, so they kind of believe he's the bad guy. It's kind of like Kawaki and Baruto just switch places.
yeah, okay.
Everybody think Kawaki is Naruto's son, and then they think Kawaki, I mean not Baruto is Kawaki, basically a fugitive that basically either killed Naruto or sealed him away. They don't know what actually happened, type thing. We as the
Okay.
manga readers do, because we seen what happened, but they don't know what happened, Loki.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's basically that situation, and then you have Baruto still trying to save the world, because it's an actual another threat that's actually going on while this is happening, and he's trying to gather the information he needs to try to beat them.
All while basically he's trying to, because it's only a matter of time before that parasitic entity takes over his whole body.
Yep, he still got that problem he's dealing with too. So it's like a whole thing. They kind of just
Yeah.
take the Astushi story from the fourth Great War and just kind of compound on it and shit like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, see, no, it's definitely time for me to catch up with it now.
Oh, for sure, because the regular anime done, so you can watch it.
Yeah. Okay. Bet. Yeah, it's definitely time for me to catch up with that. And yeah, but back to Naruto, and you know one of the things that's most interesting to me about just the storyline is how Naruto and Sasuke kind of take separate paths and then end up coming back. Man, Naruto and Sasuke used to piss me off throughout that story because sometimes I would just want Naruto to be like, bruh, like these motherfuckers don't see things the way you do. But it ended up working out. You know what I'm saying? Things ended up working out. And I guess you can't fault him for wanting to do the right thing. And then Sasuke, sometimes you just be like, bro, I know you know better than this. You like, come on, bro. You know better than this, but you just hard-headed and determined.
Yeah.
But just one path of Naruto's path of wanting to be open and connect with people, and Sasuke's path of being closed and wanting to push everybody out and finding strength in isolation and seeing companionship as a weakness. And
Yeah.
for most of the story, he was way more powerful than Naruto for most of the story. He killed Orochimaru like it was nothing. Well, not killed, because Orochimaru ass is like Voldemort. He got his spirit split up all over the place and shit.
And I want to add, I ain't gonna say it wasn't like nothing because he had to wait till Orochimaru was damn near sick and was incapacitated because he didn't fight him hands up.
Yeah, true. Wasn't both of his arms sealed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, both. So he couldn't use. Yeah, he couldn't use none of his jutsus.
And he still was putting up a fight. I low key give Orochimaru his props in that fight because it's like, damn,
yeah, no,
bedridden and still like, nigga, fuck, what you trying to do?
Right, and even after, I mean, yeah, no, he's definitely one of the most powerful people in the whole show for sure, without a doubt. But yeah, no, that's definitely. I think that my favorite character in Naruto is, well, I like Itachi, but there's not enough of him. He wasn't, I ended up, because at first you hate him and then you end up like, but still it's like he was like a teenager and they had him kill off his whole clan. But Itachi's probably one of the coolest characters, but I like Sasuke's character better than Naruto, just like for the same reason I like Vegeta's character better than Goku, because they're just more dynamic individuals. Like Naruto and Goku are just kind of like, I'm a good guy and I want to do the right thing all the time. And Sasuke and Vegeta like were victims of their own lives. You know what I'm saying? In ways that I guess maybe a bit more realistic.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and Naruto throughout the whole story was trying to, like, you're my friend, and Sasuke was like, fuck you. And he just,
one thing I will say about Naruto though is if you're Naruto friends, you're getting the benefit of the doubt on everything, and that's a good thing to say. But I will say if you're anybody else, Naruto has to be the most annoying person ever, because a lot of situations, one that I can definitely think about is when the cloud come to the leaf and they basically trying to figure out where Sasuke is, and they're telling Naruto basically everything he done did. Like, Sasuke done went over there, he done took their master, he done like destroy half the shit, and he like, oh, y'all need to forgive them.
Oh yeah,
I swear I would have smacked the shit.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is you talking?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, he just came over here and kidnapped my brother. I don't even know if he alive. You want me to forgive him? Like, okay.
And that's what I meant when I said throughout the series, Naruto used to would piss me off from time to time, For
Man,
shit like that. Like he acted, like acting like these people don't have a plight, like what they saying don't make no sense. And Sasuke basically was one of the biggest terrorists in the world, just going around causing destruction,
man.
kidnapping people. But man, the Eight Tails whooped his ass.
Oh, Eight Tails. Oh,
Like,
yeah, that was a nice fight. I like seeing that.
yeah, that's still classic. My man's pulled up on them, thought they was gonna take him, and Eight Tails was like, hell no. But
Man.
yeah, because what you were just mentioning, and that's that scene where they was beating the shit out of Naruto, and he just what was he trying to block them from, or he knew where they were or something?
No, they were trying to get information on Sasuke. And remember that, and they were basically the most people who knew all the information about Sasuke. And he was basically trying to get them to forgive him or take him over there so he could try to help them or some shit. And they like, well, just tell us what the fuck we want to know. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we don't care, y'all friends. I always thought it was interesting that he jumped into the whole Shikamaru thing when they had to fight off the two Akatsuki members that killed their master. I'm like, why are you fighting them when
Oh
they the
yeah,
ones
when
who lost money? Like,
the dude who the dude who was immortal with that sheath.
yeah, I can't think. Kakazu and what's his name? Hedon. Yes,
Yeah, it was Hedon. Yeah. Yeah, no, that
man.
and that no, but I'm glad that Shikamaru's getting more playtime, how you said in the newer shit, because that dude is brilliant.
Yeah, I'm glad they let him take down Hedon, but I always just thought it was weird that Naruto had to be the person that beat Kakazu when I'm like, he killed their master. Why is this
Mhm.
your main fight now? Like, I
I
do understand this,
I
but he
guess
needs
they
to
just
prove that he can be as powerful as Sasuke because that was the whole like driven thing of the thing. So I'm
yeah,
like, man,
yeah.
you kind of selfish.
Yeah, definitely just a little bit. Just a little bit. And then also just in the part another part where Naruto pissed me off is when the Raikage from the cloud, when they was going after Sasuke, and they was like, please no, please don't do
Oh,
this. And Raikage was like, nah, we finna kill this motherfucker.
when he tried to plead in the snow, oh,
Yeah,
that pissed me off too. Like, what the
yeah,
fuck do you mean? You don't
right.
want me to go over there and beat his ass? He in the Raikage eyes, he killed his brother. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like, what
Mhm.
do you mean not to go over there and cause more violence? He brought violence to us. We
Right.
didn't ask that.
He brought violence to us, and he ain't done dishing out the violence.
Man,
Wasn't
that
finished. Determined all the way to the end of the show. He had to lose his arm for him to finally be like, okay, and honestly, the only reason Sasuke ended up turning down the right path is just because he just flat lost.
I mean, when all your ideals get smashed back in your face, it's like, damn.
Yeah, like he just straight lost, and there was nowhere left for him to go with that shit. And
Yeah.
then he still was the baddest motherfucker in the world with one arm after that.
I mean, when y'all two literally the most powerful people in the fucking planet, it's like it's hard. I always say Kakashi, like right after Tsunade, had the most easiest presidency as Hokage because
Oh
he
yeah,
literally has the two most powerful people he can just send whenever he needs to. It's like I
facts.
only have to maybe go on a mission maybe every once in a while, Loki. I just need to do this until y'all think Naruto can take the job. That's
Right.
it.
All he had to do was sit back and do paperwork and shit, and he was good.
Yeah, I always say Tsunade had it worse. She had like wars,
Yeah, right.
Husky going on. Like,
Right.
damn.
Yeah, no, she definitely had the worst one because the Akatsuki was a motherfucker. That shit was cool. I remember. I mean, when what are those aliens called? The
Ususki.
yeah, the Otsuki. Before, they did, they had to keep the show going and stuff like that. But before you even got to that and really knew what was going on with that, Madara being the main antagonist in the Akatsuki, like that was, to me, that was when Naruto was at its peak, because it
Yep.
was. And again, I think they did well with expanding the show with the Otsutsuki and everything like that. But before that, that's when it was like, oh my god, this shit is so good, because the Akatsuki's plan and pain and his mission. It's a story that's been told a lot of times, but humanity only has a handful of stories repeating themselves.
Yeah, and
So and but he had a point though. You know what I'm saying? Like
I mean,
maybe
yeah,
it was.
when Payne came to the Leaf and he broke down his point and was basically like, y'all go around waging wars and doing all this stuff trying to benefit y'all society. But what about the societies that y'all go and blow up? What about their
Mhm.
families? What about all that? And then when he was breaking that down, I sat there was like, damn, the
Yeah,
Leaf might be evil. Low key, if
yeah.
you think about it from that perspective. And it make me also think about like wars that go on now, like that's happening
Mhm.
right now. It's like all those people that's actually in those spaces that's getting blown up and everything. It's like that has to be horrible and what they going through, and not hoping that they can be like, oh, it's gonna be a better day tomorrow. Man, you literally blew my family up. Like the fuck.
Mhm. Yeah, and again, because again, that's why to me, I like this better than Dragon Ball Z because of how well thought out the plot is. You know, again, it's like major nations waging war, and then the smaller nations being just kind of like taking, just damage, and they're not really necessarily even involved in the plight at all. They're not necessarily even involved in the drama. They just getting blown up. They just getting stomped on. They just getting used like they'll have puppet dictators that as heads of those states who just do nothing but suck out all the productivity from the people and from the land and give it up to the bigger nations. So yeah,
True.
like the leaf, you feel like, oh, the leaf is so powerful and successful at the expense of all these other smaller nations. And it, yeah, you know what I mean? Like that shit was just so good to me. And
Yeah,
then
and whew, I remember that. It just made me low key switch sides, and I like seeing Naruto had that moment where he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm on Justice side. I got to fight this dude." He tells him that, and he just sit there like, "Damn, little
mhm.
shit. Like, who is bad right now? Like, we
and,
might need
and
to
you
talk
couldn't
about this."
and you couldn't really draw the lines. And that's why the writing is so good because it's like you think you know who to root for, and then like throughout the series, you don't really know who's good or who's bad anymore. It's just the cycle of pain, like how he talked about it, and
True. Yep.
and they were so well organized, and then that one scene where Naruto actually found Nagato, and then he was like, "I want to kill you so fucking bad right now." And then and he didn't. And I feel like that right there was kind of like that point in the story was where a lot was decided. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because if he would have killed Nagato, because he could have, if he would have did that right there, then I mean, what really would have been resolved?
Yeah, and
Uh,
then you got to think all those people that he did kill, they would have never came back. Kakashi would have been dead. I mean, there's so
yeah.
many people that died during that whole situation that get brought back just because you talk to them. So I really think that just really started to change within that whole story. You know what I mean? That moment that
Yeah.
needed to basically happen to stop the trend of pain going around.
hmm and just that moment of sacrificing all of his being bigger than his anger and his pain.
Yeah,
Really being able to zoom out because I mean, like even in the real world, like when you really zoom out, it's hard to pinpoint where exactly things start, whereas it's the conditions that really keep people fighting, like people, how much access people have to food and water or resources of
true.
various kinds. Things, droughts and famines happen, and then now all of a sudden you have to share your resources with people, and then here comes racism and bigotry. Like it's just like such a part of the human condition, to where like how do you really solve the issue of war? Can you? In my
Man,
opinion, I don't know if we fully can. I think we can make things better for sure, but if it's gonna be a tit for tat, then it really will be endless.
true, because I think it's hard to make living conditions ideal for everybody around the world. You know what I mean? Because everything is not all the same all around the world. To be able to just have everybody on the right path, and then the main thing about it to me is free will. Everybody have the will to believe whatever they want. So even if things are going the right way, there can be people who just take that the wrong way. Even like
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
like it's
Yep.
nothing you can do about that. It's like it's
Yep.
the fact that people have the ability to believe, think whatever they want. Like and
Mhm.
that's the
And
the crux of it.
that's exactly why I've been getting more and more into just, like stories like this, because there's so much that you can learn from these types of things, because art mimics life.
True.
Art
True.
imitates nature. All of this shit, all these ideas come from things that people have been through throughout the history of civilization. And those pivotal moments, especially when you're in a position of power, what do you do? And again, just like you pointed out, even when you think everything's going great, and things could be going great, somebody ain't gonna see it that way. Somebody ain't gonna see it that way, and they just gonna come through and start spreading ideas. Like a good example, like here in America, like things like, rent is unaffordable, mortgages are unaffordable, stuff like that. But at the same time, on Black Friday, Americans broke sales records. So, like, how broke are we for real? You know what I mean? Like, just like with certain narratives about, like, oh, ain't nobody got no money. Like, no, apparently we do. Things could be better. Things should be better. Have we been cheated by corporate America? Absolutely. But the idea that Americans are poor compared to people in, like, certain South American countries, Central American countries, you know what I'm saying? We don't know what the fuck poverty is compared to a lot of people. And
True. True.
because of and just from a broader perspective, obviously there's plenty of people who are steeped in poverty here, but just from a broader perspective, and a lot of our wealth comes from, well, first it came from stolen land and free labor, and continued colonization. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, maybe not be official, but us having hundreds of military bases all over the world so that we can secure trade routes, those types of things are what major nations are always fighting over. So I think that Naruto really captured that well.
Yeah, you really get to see that, and then the fact that most of the villages that we do see, these are really outside villages. They're really just the army because
Mm,
the leaf protects the land of fire. Like
mhm.
they have a whole president, villages, other things within that. Like these are just armies for these big villages. And like I think a lot of people don't even really be knowing that. Like,
Yeah, no, talk. Yeah, talk more about that, because that's definitely a good point to bring up. Because the Nation of Fire as a whole is an entire country.
yep.
It's not a city or a village. It's multiple villages, multiple cities, and
Hmm.
basically the world of the shinobi world. They're basically a bunch of mercenaries.
Yeah, they basically these are just like paid jobs that they go on and basically do. That's what their missions are basically technically because they have like a daimyo. I think that's what they call it over there in Japanese. And also, I want to state that a lot of the stories and stuff we see, these are perspectives from the Japanese culture. So I always like that too to kind of see like how other countries kind of see different things. I like also sometimes when you see anime when they depict Americans or how American culture is because I think it's
Yeah,
funny sometimes when you get to see it. A lot of times they do go the whole greedy, big fat white man type thing. They do,
yeah.
but I think it's interesting that I wanted to point that out. But yeah, they do have like a daimyo and stuff like that, and it's actually like a big honor to be on like to watch out and be like the bodyguard for the daimyo because I know Asuma, the Shikamaru's team leader. That was his job before he actually became the like team leader and stuff like that. And they actually
He
talked
was an
about that.
official escort. He was like a.
Yeah, I forgot what the name of the whole group is called, but it's like a select few of ninjas that actually are supposed to guard him and stuff like that. And they actually consider like some of the top ninjas in the game. But I mean,
Yeah, yeah. But no, that's
Asuma
that.
kind of get fucked up, but but it did pull
Yeah,
out a nasty little technique at the end too. So I mean,
yeah.
yeah, you gotta give him props.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, that and that's also I'm glad we came to this topic, because again, the villages are, um you know like you said, they're army outposts basically, with their own cultures. But
Hmm.
everybody doesn't necessarily have access to chakra. or be access to control it. You know,
And
most people.
resources, that's been a problem for them too. Because I mean, like the land of sand, just how we were talking earlier, that's the main village that's always trying to fight for resources because it means a desert.
Right. They ain't got shit. Right. They ain't got shit. They ain't got shit going on in that motherfucker. Exactly. And then they got what do you know what nation that is? What nation is
Oh,
that?
I don't know. I gotta look it up. Let me see if I can look up the.
Yeah, because it's from my memory
I know it's a nation of water, the nation of fire.
the nation of fire is the most powerful, isn't it? The
Yeah,
biggest.
because I mean it has the leaf.
Yeah.
What are the
And the leaf
five?
had the leaf had like they had the Byakugan and the Sharingan.
Okay, you got the land of earth, the land of lightning. That's where the cloud
Cloud,
village where the
yeah.
Raikage is the land of water, and then you got the land of wind,
Okay, cool. And then Pain was from the village of the Rain Village, right?
the rain village. Yep.
Hidden in the Rain. Yeah, the
Hmm.
village hidden in the rain. And that was one of the smaller in between nations that basically just got
Hmm.
caught up in everybody's bullshit. Basically like they was like the Middle East or I mean, shit. There's so many examples of different places in the, through it that the village hidden in the rain could be compared to different countries in the Middle East that are always caught up in oil wars and
And they ain't got nothing to do with them. I'm like, we
right,
ain't got oil right here.
exactly.
Why y'all
Like
fight here? That
we came here to bring you guys democracy. Like we didn't really ask for this, so didn't really ask for your American democracy. We know what you motherfuckers are really up to.
man.
But yeah, no, there's really so much to talk about from this series, and like I said, this really had been and still is possibly in terms of like the big shows, like like Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, One Piece.
Bleaches.
I don't really know that much about One Piece, and there's so many episodes. I feel like I'm just so far behind. They got like 1,500 episodes or some shit in One Piece.
I was literally just watching. Let me go over here real quick and tell
I'm
you.
just really not that familiar with One Piece.
One Piece, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you get the time to actually watch it and actually take the time to digest it, it's an amazing story. Like if you're
Yeah,
talking about great story, it's amazing. Like it's just the thing that he's able to like dive deep into and actually bring out into his characters and stuff like that. It's pretty dope. And that standpoint. And the fact that the story literally is still going and
it's
don't
still
really have
good.
it's still good. Like that's the thing that
Yeah,
crazy me, and the fact that it keeps evolving with the animation. Like the fact that animation right now is like top tier in almost every show. And they was like, just because we came out in 2000 doesn't mean we can't upgrade. Because I mean, the last few episodes they put out were top tier. Like I'm like, this is crazy for the fact that how long it's been going out and still the story still feel like it's progressing. It hasn't got to a part where you're like, okay, he trying to stall a story. He trying to go on a few more years. It's I don't
like you
know.
trying
They
to fulfill a contract or some shit. Yeah,
you
you
know what I
always know.
mean?
You can tell when it get to that point. Like, oh, you got a contract to fulfill because you should have ended this shit. Yeah.
They
No,
say he had this all planned out from the beginning. I'm gonna say I don't know. I feel like he probably did, and they got at a point where he's like, you know what, I got a little bit more story, but
yeah,
to me,
yeah.
it's just hard to be like he had this all planned out in
Probably not.
2000,
Yeah.
like that. What?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
come on.
probably not. He probably had a it broadly planned out, and then things progress. I mean, shit, events in your life will have you add different things to the
True.
story, just different perspectives that you may gain as things happen and as things change. And a lot of the time, what you'll see, I mean, sometimes people write great stories quickly, but some great stories took decades to write just because they started it, then stopped, then started it, then stopped. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So, but no, I definitely trust your taste, and I'm gonna check that out because for me, I just good writing and good stories is gonna be good. Like if it's written well, it's gonna be good. You know what I'm
True.
saying? Like Death Note for me that like I saw that years ago. That's still one of the better things I've seen. But if that wasn't written well, there's not that much action going on. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? I mean, like it's pretty much a psychological thriller. So, that's just a good example of how powerful writing is because either you had either you have to tell a good story or it just has to be really like boom boom pow spectacular. But I
yeah,
feel like we're kind of in an age now where special effects aren't you can't really wow people with that the same way that you used to. So now we got to get back into telling good stories. Which I think is a good place for art to be in, period. You know what
true.
I'm saying? Whether it be movies, television shows, books, manga, anime, whatever. In order for people to really be interested now, like how Marvel has been doing for years. Like just put everybody in the movie. Like that's not really good enough anymore. Like what are we really trying to are there any lessons in here? Character development, like that
Yeah,
shit. That shit really gets me going. Which is why I like Sasuke and Vegeta better than Goku and Naruto because all the character development. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
feel you on that, and I'll say that you get to get more into their characters and feel more of their emotions. But I will say for like Dragon Ball, I do feel like you do get a lot of Vegeta's emotions. I don't know if you've seen Super, you get to dive more into him kind of becoming more of a fatherly, married man type of character. So I do think you get that progression, but you don't get
yeah.
it the same way that's in Naruto. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's just not. Well, it's a totally different kind of show and kind
Yes.
of story. Like it's not. It doesn't take away from Dragon Ball at all. Naruto, I would say,
Yeah,
is just kind of a bit more. It's just a bit more mature. You know what I'm
I'll give
saying?
you that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a bit more adult. Maybe would be a good way to explain it. But yeah, because I mean, Vegeta's story is fucking hard. And this dude was born, what I mean, because the Saiyans wasn't shit either. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
they
it
wasn't
was
shit
evil.
neither. So right, at least that. So, that he was born into this, you know, this warrior society where weakness was not tolerated at all, vulnerability was not tolerated at all. And then they're being ruled over by even more ruthless people.
Yep.
And all
I
his
won't.
people died. Yeah.
I'm gonna break it down, man. So basically, you start off. You're basically told that you're the strongest. You know what I mean? You come from the strongest race. You're gonna be the strongest. Then after that, few months after that, few years, you basically become a slave. So now you're a slave underneath another stronger entity. You finally get to the point where you can kind of get freedom a little bit. You try to get your freedom, you die. You fuck
Right.
around and die. So it's like, God damn. So, like, all these moments you've been trying to lead up to this moment just to do this, you fucking die. But then the person that beats the person that killed him is the person that was supposed to be considered a low class warrior.
Right.
No one that was
Right.
ever supposed to be at your level type thing. So now you got that on your mindset. Like, I'm supposed to be the leader of this whole Saiyan race type thing at the high art. And the person that's considered at the lowest end, I'm looking up at him. Like, what?
Right.
And then
Like his whole point of view is just continuously like, nah, this ain't it.
every arc is just showing him that you're supposed to be the strongest. Someone stronger always fucking comes. So it's like,
Hmm.
oh, where am I in this whole world? So you get to basically he has to figure who he is and what he needs to be in this world. So that's his whole
Yeah.
struggle type of shit.
And Goku's just like, I love fighting, and he's gonna find a way. And he's just gonna find a way to win.
Man,
But yeah, no, definitely he's definitely a really well thought out, cool ass character. But
yeah.
I'm gonna get more into One Piece. I'm gonna check that out. Now, in terms of are there any like mangas that you recommend that don't really have anything to do with what we're talking about today?
Okay, manga. Okay.
Because I'm
Man,
trying to get way more into all of this shit.
ooh, I'm trying to think. A lot of the manga that I'm reading right now are kind of all like action packed. I have read Piano in the Forest. that was just recently. That's about a piano competition. You basically get to learn about the kind of poorest areas in Japan. A boy born in them areas, his mom's a prostitute and stuff like that. And then him going from that to actually becoming like a prodigy in piano and winning a whole competition. So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, I probably can send you over a few of them. I can't think
Yeah,
of on the
yeah.
top
Send
of
me
my head.
some stuff because I actually I'm kind of starting a like a comic and manga collection.
Oh, that's pretty dope. I'm glad you getting into it, man.
Yeah, yeah. I'm getting a lot more into it. I ordered a comic called have you heard of Mr. Miracle?
Mr. Mirror. I feel like I heard that. Let me look
He's
this up.
so he's a character from DC. And he was like, Dark Side. Dark Side is a villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he basically Mr. Miracle's like this escape artist. He ended up escaping from Apocalypse, the Dark Side's planet. And basically, this story is about he can escape everything, but can he escape death? So like
Mm.
that's kind of the premise of it. And my a friend of mine who's really into comics and stuff like that, he put me on to it. So I'm gonna be reading that. But it just seemed like an interesting plot, you know what I'm saying? Because like death oftentimes are like tangible characters in these types of stories. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
so
remember Death having a big thing to do with I can't remember who was the Marvel villain that they had to go.
Thanos.
Thanos, yeah. Thanos and Death had like a whole storyline, and basically why he was doing all that was basically to it was supposed to be a gift to Death, like to
Yeah,
show
yeah,
her
yeah.
basically.
Yeah, like they changed it in some of the other versions of the stories and the ones where the movie went out where he was just like, "Oh, I'm a humanitarian, so I'm gonna kill half of all you motherfuckers. I'm gonna kill
What
half of right. I'm gonna
his
kill
point
all you
was
motherfuckers."
I always say I hate when villains have points where you can just sit there and be like, "Damn, that's
Yeah,
not a bad. It's not what he's saying is not wrong. It's just like it's fucked up to do. You know,
right,
that's the
right, right.
thing.
Like,
Like,
and Thanos was like, no, like nobody could take this mantle of responsibility but me. Like, no, ain't nobody crazy enough but your ass to do some shit like that. And but yeah, no, in the comics it was like Lady Death or something, and he was
mhm.
like upset. He was like obsessed with her, and she was kind of like, like I like you, but not as much as you like me. So he was like, I know.
That's crazy, man.
I know what'll win her over. I'm gonna kill all these motherfuckers. And
Let me
then
show her I'm crazy just like her type shit. Like,
right, exactly. But yeah, no, send me over a couple of those. I think unless we have other things to touch on, I think this was a pretty good first time for us just hopping on because we didn't do any show prep for this. We just hopped on and
yeah.
started talking about Naruto. Um, but yeah, no, send me some of that. Definitely appreciate you joining me. Look forward to doing this some more. I've been doing shows with a guy named Jimmy. We've been talking about movies and stuff though. He works with a
Oh,
network called Joe
okay.
Blow, and they like interview like movie actors and they do movie reviews and stuff like that. Really cool guy. But I'm gonna be putting in a lot of effort to just get this type of content out more, bring more people in for these types of discussions because nerd shit is where it's at, man. Nerd shit is cool shit. Cool, you know what I'm saying? Like it really is. Whether it be comics, good stories, man. See one of the things because I love anthropology, and one of the things that fascinates me about human beings is deep down I mean, we're a lot of things, but most of what we are the stories we tell ourselves. I mean,
True.
that really is a lot of what we are individually, but especially collectively. I mean, how do you get a society to move in one general direction? Because everybody's telling themselves the same story. You know what I'm saying? Like this is all worth it because we're building this up for the greater good of everybody else. That's where things like religion come in, especially for earlier civilization. How do you get a whole group of people to spend their lives building these huge monuments to the king or to the idea of society? Because everybody's telling themselves this story like we're just interesting things. You know what I'm saying? Like we're so interesting, and oftentimes we can change our lives for the better, for the positive, if we just change the tune of the story that we telling ourselves. You know what
True,
I'm
true.
saying?
I
So
want to add in something real quick.
yeah,
You were talking about your friend doing interviews. That's something you might want to try to do. For some reason, I feel like that would be a good outlet for you to like interview like movie actors or voiceover characters or something like that. Because I feel like you got a bigger perspective than just anime, but can also talk to them about some other different stuff and get to explore their mind a little bit more than just oh, what's your favorite character? What was your favorite line or something like
yeah.
that? I just feel
I
like you should
appreciate
try
I,
look into that.
I appreciate that. I definitely am going into 2025 with just some new approaches. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Definitely some new approaches and new opportunities. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm looking forward to that. So, but yeah, we gonna go ahead and close it off here, and we will be back another time soon.
Peace.
Hey now. Thank you so much for tuning in here at Politics and Paper. If you like what I do and you support my work, go ahead and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it and really helps to support what we do here.